Hello, here we are today with Healing You with Gloria Lybecker. And I'm Gloria Lybecker's co-host, Gail Donohue. And today we're going to be looking at our emotions and looking at what can happen. And, those crazy times where we look back and we think, why did I say that? Or why didn't I say that? Or how could I have done that? And Gloria, yeah, I know that you've had some thoughts about this, and we've both experienced how much our emotions can take us offline, off the way that we really would love to be in the world and be with others. So
Yeah.
I'll turn it over to you.
Oh, well, they can become so intense at times. But what I'm really not recognizing is that when we don't recognize in the moment that that's what's happening, it becomes all about us, and we start floundering, and we're like a ship out at sea that's lost its sail, and we're just being cast about by the waves. But when we can start to recognize that, that's the first key, is noticing that something is happening to us. You'd mentioned an experience with your computer, which is a perfect example of not recognizing something and then making it about the situation. So share just a tidbit about what that was like for you, for our viewers to really resonate with you.
Yeah, yeah, sure. I'd be happy to, because after I kind of went, oh my gosh, there I was, pulled into the vortex of my pattern. Yeah, I needed to do an update with my computer. And then when I came and the next morning and it wasn't working. So I thought, okay, I'll just restart it again. So I was clicking the restart and waiting, and it wasn't coming up. So then my patterns of some panic came up of like, oh my gosh, I've got to get this going. What's happened? Like a panic of the technology not working. But in me, it was a panic of I don't have control, or like, how do I fix this? Because I don't know how to fix this computer thing. So immediately I went from starting my day to 100 miles, 150 miles an hour to complete panic. I can't fix this. My computer's broken. What's going on? And I kept on clicking
Yeah.
the button. Okay, I got to start it again. I got to start it again. And do you want me to keep going and explaining what happened, or do you want to ask me a question?
Yeah. Well, so what I'm hearing is the catastrophization that can happen in our mind about what we make something mean. And we don't recognize that we're making it mean something. And then we make that mean something too. And it continues, like you said, that it was a vortex. And it can just suck us right in, and it starts to create a reality that isn't true. And yet it is our lived experience. It's true within us that is happening. And to be able to have a port that you can find, like a ship that's without a port, when you can find a port that you can come to with all of that emotion so that it can be held, it can start to dissipate, and all of a sudden you can begin to see what you couldn't see. So in your situation, you didn't have a port. And so what happened?
Well, as I was mentioning, I kept on pushing this button,
Yeah.
and even like powering it down, I was thinking, okay, I disconnect the power, can't take out batteries anymore like you used to be able to before to really disconnect it. So I got to the point, it was just a blank screen. And I thought, great, it's totally broke. Again, the catastrophizing.
Mhm.
But I had enough that I recognized that I can't do anything more now. That's it. It's done. It's broken. So I had to walk away.
Yeah.
So I walked away, and that in this situation with the computer, that did really help, because what it allowed was the computer to go through all of the steps of rebooting again, because I had turned it off and on so many times. And it needed to, have space and to be able to get back to going through the programming. With it being totally unusable, that gave me the space to walk away. And when I came back, I went, oh my gosh, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
It's totally okay. And I had just made it I just had gone into this vortex of the panic. I don't know what to do. How am I going to fix it? I've got so much to do today. I'm going to get behind.
Yeah, so to just hold that with a lot of care, because what that actually did, it's allowed you to recognize a pattern with more clarity.
Mhm.
We can come back and we can recognize what are the things that flip our switches. What is it that starts that cascade of those neurochemicals in our body? Because our body, our limbic system, it does not forget anything. And when there's something that has a strong, intense emotion attached to it, it superglues it in there with everything else that's associated with it. And then that's what will flip our switch, because it literally does. It flips our prefrontal cortex off. The secondary element takes over. And then if we still can't get it sorted, we'll go into our immobilization in order to not feel the pain.
Yes.
And yeah, and technology is a perfect example of that. I had that happen with me when I was up in Alaska visiting my daughter. I had a what's it called? It's a remote backup. Had all hard drive, all of my content for everything I've created in my life was on there. It would have been a wise choice to have had a secondary one. I didn't. And it got knocked off of the counter and broke. I lost absolutely everything. And that experience was really pretty traumatic. And I didn't realize it at the time. My daughter said I actually turned white. I went in and laid down and I just was like, I was wiped out because I realized so much of the stuff that I valued, it was just gone. There was no
Yeah.
getting it back. Well, then the other day I had a similar experience where I have everything backed up to a cloud now. Well, all of a sudden the cloud disappeared off my desktop. What happened? And then the cloud that's in the cloud, they were supposed to sync up. It wasn't syncing up. The stuff wasn't there. And I realized, oh my gosh, so much stuff's gone. And I felt that same experience in my body. So when we can actually spend enough time getting to know our body, getting to know our pattern, I recognized how I started to get the catastrophic thoughts. Oh my gosh, it's all gone. And I just felt like, oh, I just need to go lay down. And I thought, oh my gosh, I recognized it. I connected the dots. And I slowed down and I did some breathing. I came into my heart and I just opened it. I'm like, open to possibility. And all of a sudden, it was like a thought popped in. And I went and I looked and I go, oh, that content, I already had it loaded into a different spot. So it's not gone forever. But I didn't have the capacity to be open to anything else. If I was attached to my trauma bubble, it would narrow my vision like that. And that's all I
Mhm.
can see. If that's all I can see, then it's like it's done.
Yeah.
And we can slow down and actually connect the dots with our patterns and step back. And instead of being the pattern, I think that's a real key to witness the pattern, to instead of identifying, it's like you're not your patterns.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
not even your thoughts.
Yes.
You know, if you can really start to recognize that, it can open a door to something that you didn't know you couldn't see.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what it's helped me with, having that experience and going, wow, this is how fast I can move into the panic and the catastrophizing and the lack of control. That's not safe for me. That's that trauma bubble of not being safe unless I know everything that's going on. So
Yeah.
it's helped me to start to see, oh, if there's another experience that's starting to happen, I can slow down. That's the real key to me for me now is just to, okay, slow down, and take care of myself in
Yeah.
that moment.
Yeah. Recognize what we're making something mean. And and even challenging, is that true? Is that
Mhm.
true? If that's true, what does that mean? And really taking time to pause. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah,
And you know what? I just got a name. Technology, it can really flip my switch. Because there's so much I don't know that I don't know about that. And yet when I slow down, I can really find a resource where I can reach out and get some support. So it's really invaluable to get support.
absolutely. So true. Absolutely. Well, a great discussion today, Gloria. Thanks for adding all of the nuances of explaining what was happening behind this experience of the computer and technology.
Yeah.
And I look forward to us chatting about our next topic when we get together.
Thanks, Gail.